Okay. Hello again.
We will start with the opening sutra. If you're new to the sutra, you don't know it, just hold your hands in place and feel the vibes. We're just gonna go for it. And unsurpassed, penetrating, and perfect Dharma is rarely met with, even in 100,000 million kalpas. Having it to see and listen to, remember and accept. I vow to taste the truth of the Tathagata's teaching. Okay. Oh, no. In Buddhism, the Zen practitioners share their understanding of the teachings and practice. It is offered freely as a practice of dana paramita. Dana is a Pali word that means generosity or to give freely. And this practice is done without expectation of getting something in return. This is the spirit of speaking about the Dharma. Other ways to practice dana is to offer support to those who share the teachings. To support places of spiritual practice and to give without judgment or expectation when opportunities arise. Those who share the teachings of Great Tree do so on a dana basis. Please support their practice by giving what you can. You can either do this directly or through Great Tree, and we will pass it on to them. Our speaker today.
You should ask her where's
Chimyo. Where would you like your dana set? Today's dana set.
If you send dana, you can send it to Great Tree.
Thank you.
And right.
And indicate if it's for them.
Yes, and please make a note that it is for Chimyo.
And also understand that you don't have to give it directly to me. To give to Great Tree is to give to all of us. And I would like to remind people of that. This is not an individual practice. We are here because Great Tree is here. We are coming on to our 20th year, unless I had forgotten, but I've forgotten how to count a lot. And we are also coming up on a very important event in our history, the Mountain Seat Ceremony in September. And that is very important to me. It's very important to Great Tree, and it's very important to you if you dig deep and understand. And also if you are a member of sangha somewhere else, that is dana for me as well. So do not be discriminating and think you got to drop it in my box, because I got a big box and it includes all of you. And I have to remind myself of that too. So thank you.
Okay, I will now introduce our speaker, Reverend Chimyo Atkinson. Reverend Chimyo Atkinson was ordained by Reverend Teijo Munnich in 2007, received Dharma Transmission in 2015, and served as head of practice at Great Tree Women's Temple until 2020. She received her monastic training at Great Tree and completed Sotoshu International training periods, ango, in Japan in 2010 and 2011. She completed additional training periods at the Aichi Senmon Nisodo in Nagoya in 2012 and Ryumonji Monastery in Iowa in 2014. Thank you, Chimyo.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Um, I remember when I sent the title to this program, that because I'm like, oh, okay, let me just give them a title. I hate giving titles to programs because it's never, when I finally get to talking, I'm never in that same space. So forgive me if this seems a little off the brand that was sent to you. It's not really. At the time that I was asked for a title to this, I was listening to a lot of music. I still listen to a lot of music. In this recuperation period that I've been in, music has been a very sweet balm. Going back and listening to a lot of music that I grew up with, discovering or rediscovering a lot of music. And on loop, I had Tom Jobim, The Waters of March. I don't know if you remember that. Some of you are too young to even know who I'm talking about. The Waters of March. Though we should know it in the same way we know Beethoven and Liszt and Motown, all these classics. These are the classics of our future. The last verse of that is, and the riverbank talks of the waters of March. It's the promise of life in your heart, in your heart. It's the end of all strain. It's the joy in your heart. And I talk to a lot of people online, some of whom are students of Zen who want to ask me questions, who want encouragement, who need encouragement. And one of the questions I try to always ask is not just what is your practice, but what does Zazen, how does Zazen help you to be, help you to live? What is its entry in your life? And sometimes I think, what a stupid question to ask. But sometimes, it's the question, always it's the question I ask myself. And so that title came up for me out of that question. Zazen, the Bodhisattva practice, the Bodhisattva way, is cool water. And it opens a warm heart. So like, what do you mean by that? And I've been thinking, what do I mean by that? I have ridiculous notes that I take as I, get closer and closer to my time to speak. And one of the things that I wrote seems a bit silly, but Bodhisattva praxis is the cool water that soothes the rug burn of delusion. Okay, Chimyo, what? Constantly dragging yourself across a false floor, looking for satisfaction, comfort. Sit up straight, get off your belly and your knees and breathe. Clarify and clear the ground and touch the floor, the earth of being. Just breathe and be, nothing more. This is all. The clear water that runs through like through like time, cutting through the layers of stone that I call self, cutting through like Maitreya's sword to the true nature of being. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. Okay, what do I do? What do I not do? How come I don't stop doing? You know, Zazen is that opportunity, that possibility of cutting through all of this delusion and simply being. And in simply being, opening that warm heart. And not just that piece of flesh that rumbles in my chest, but the heart that is the true nature, the true Buddha nature of all. I know in the past or through my practice, throughout especially this part of my life that I identify as teaching, I've talked a lot about interconnectedness, or tried to speak about interconnectedness and, failure, maybe a little tap on the outskirts of truth. I don't know. But that heart, that warm heart, by what I mean by that is compassion. What I mean by that is joy. What I mean by that is the actual truth and understanding of interconnectedness. Interconnectedness, not just with human beings, interconnectedness with the earth under the rug, with the tree that shares that earth, with the beings that I can't even see. The Metta Sutra talks about the great, the small, the seen, the unseen. When we do Tonglen practice, we talk about reaching to those we love, to those we have ego feelings about, because that's what it is. It's the ego that pushes those folks away and makes them lesser beings, makes them evil, makes them wrong. And I'm not saying that injustice doesn't exist or anything like that. Don't turn that back on me. Not saying that the feelings of anger and fear that we have are not triggered by the feelings of anger and fear of others. The part of Tonglen practice is to break through our own anger and fear so that we can feel the connectedness, even with those who are twisting the web, who are trying to tear the web of Indra. But that's kind of what I mean. is finding, no words, is finding that heart, that true heart, that is all of our heart. And so that's how my notes look, y'all. Scattered, and a feeling of inarticulateness, because what are the words for this? And that's where I go. And also a lot of overthinking, trying to intellectualize. To go back to the beginning of those notes. One of the requirements of a site for a monastery is that there be a stream or some sort of source of clear water, of sound and cooling on that site. At every monastery I've been to, whether it's in Japan or America, there's always the sound of water, of a stream rolling down the mountain. At Yokoji in Japan, all those years ago, there was a stream that rolled past. If I'm sitting in the Soto, it's to my right. The sound is, forgive me, my right and left are getting mixed up because they went into my right side of the brain. I don't know what's going on, but I get that mixed up. To my left, as I'm sitting, comes the sound of that stream. It's fairly close to that end of the Soto. And so in the mornings, in the evenings when we sat, it's not particularly loud, but on some days, especially after the rain, you definitely hear it. At break times, at times when we're cleaning the road, all that, it is a companion to me. And it does speak. It sings. And it speaks. That's why the riverbank talks of the waters of March. The sweet stream right outside the Soto speaks and sings. Sometimes it sings Aretha Franklin, because you can hear what you hear. And what I'm hearing is this, is me. And it tells me, listen, listen, listen. It rolls past like time. Listen, listen, listen. It rolls past, it rolls through. Like the blood in your veins, it rolls. And it's speaking. I'm speaking. Because I'm not separate from that stream. On that mountain, I am the mountain. Do mountain seat. We are the mountain. It's not just Teijo. We are the mountain. We are the ground of the Dharma. It comes through every being. It comes through you, it comes through me, and we have to maintain it. We have to hold it. There'll be times when I don't understand it, but that does not mean that I don't put all my being there. You can call that faith if you want to. You can also call it what it is. Dharma is a very open word in my mind. It means just about everything. And I have to hold it. And in that holding, I hold all of it. This body, this ground, the beings that are a part of this ground along with me, whether they're human, whether they're plant, whether they're worms, whether they're politicians that are in there that are confused, are causing confusion, whether they're microbes that I cannot see, whether they're animals that we've never seen before, never cataloged before, might be Bigfoot, you know, just because we ain't seen them, you know. It might be all things. It's the planets far away in the sky, the red moon, all of those things. And I have to recall that. So when the waters rolled, you know, and sang whatever song I recognized, that's what was happening. That cool water running through like time, like blood, cooling my delusions. I can remember a sweet memory of all us monks cleaning the gutters along the road that ran up to the monastery. Hard work, long hard work, all doggone day we were cleaning. And at the bottom of the road was a pump, and the stream came all the way down from the top of the mountain and out into the community. And there's a pump there that the citizens of that town would come to. They'd come through the gate at the bottom of the road that led to the street with their plastic bottles to fill at that pump. There's running water in this community, but they would come to that pump and fill their bottles. And so they were there along with us. We had our cups, our little cups, you know, there, filling our little cups as we were cleaning. And I can remember loving that water so much. And this sounds pretty, not very ladylike, but I can remember filling that cup, taking a couple of sips, and doing just like this. Pouring that water over my bald head in the hot sun. And how sweet that was, you know. And some of the other monks looking at me like, really, Chimyo? But I didn't care. And then later to see the other monks, mostly the guys, okay. Mostly the guys, the girls weren't doing it, but doing the same thing and knowing and feeling their relief when they did that. And knowing that those women, mostly women that came with their jugs, were taking those jugs back to their families, to their children, to their husbands, to their mom and pop, for the relief that that clear water, that pure water, I don't know if it was true, but the people who took care of the temple when we were not there, the main residents, claimed that it was the purest water ever. It comes down and it's, it has healing properties and so and so and so and so. And I'm like, okay, yeah. You don't have to advertise. How about it's healing and pure because it simply is. It doesn't have to be the bestest. It simply is. Coming down from the tops of the mountains, from the snows, the waters of March. In this case, it was basically the middle of the summer. March had been long over. But still, from the snows of the previous time. And so that's my memory of water. And that's my feeling of Zazen. I connected because I was in the monastery at the time, yes. I connected because I sat next to it when I sat Zazen in the Zendo in the Sodo. I sat next to it under the Ginkgo tree, and listened to the leaves fall. Because, no, they don't make a just sound. The sound of water is the mountain speaking. It carries the voices of every spirit that ever walked its trails, the monks, the day trippers, the tiny rabbits in the bush, the birds flitting through the branches of the trees, the ginkgo leaves gracefully falling to the ground. And more, great and small. Even my own voice sighing through the homesickness, laughing with my gentle sister as we walked, worked, whispered through the long days. The sound of water is the rhythmic rumble of the rain on a red tin roof in Alexander. Through the hours of Sesshin, the rustle of Anja-san's robe as she moves through the Zendo. Cool water, softly speaking and singing lives. Bodhisattva practice is the cool water that soothes the rug burn of delusion. And somehow that's how I got to that. So that is this practice for me. It has been that while I was in Japan, making all my suffering. It has been that while I was a great tree, making all my suffering. And remembering getting up in the night and dragging my knees across, I used to sleep on a futon on the floor, dragging my knees across the carpet and getting that little rug burn. I remember that. It has been that you know, sitting up in bed when I couldn't get off the bed by myself, a few months ago. It is still that. It is soothing. It is showing me. It is connecting me. It's cutting through the filth and the armor and the pain of my ego, of the suffering I create for myself. It's cutting through all of that. Sweet water. It's sitting on the banks of a stream and listening for once and holding all of it for once. When I was at Great Tree, I didn't do this often because my lazy ass, and that is a long, steep trail from the creek down below. But sometimes, I'd get there, just sit on that stone wall with Justin. I had a little dog named Justin. And just sit there and listen. Yeah, it has some trash in it sometimes that comes down from the street. And it's the same water as spoke at Yokoji. It's the same water that spoke at Shogoji, same water that speaks out there. And I can't remember the park, that river out there. Oh, you don't even have to go to the park. It's right at the end of Lower Flat Creek Road. What is the name of that river? Why can't I hold it? I'm having trouble with names and numbers and all those kinds of things. It's that same river, that same water. It's the same water that's running through here. And I have to let it cut through all this to reach that deep, warm heart that is everything, all of us, all of it. So I think that's why in some places, I know that when we were looking for Great Tree, one of the requirements that Teijo listed was that it had to have a source of running water, a natural source of water running. And maybe that's why. So we can hear it speak. So we can hear the water, the blood, the time that runs through us. I was talking to a gentleman by phone, a young man here who is also ordained and whose group disbanded not too long ago because the ravages of COVID are still with us, and many people lost or had to disconnect because of it. And he's trying to reconnect and bring that practice back to his community. We were talking about a lot of things, about how to open the opportunities for practice and how. What is it? What is it that we're trying to offer? What is it that we have offered all along? that old. And when I first began practice a long time ago, in a long time, dang, I'm so old. We offer the opportunity to step into the stream. I don't hear that used too often these days. We offer the opportunity to step into the stream. Or to recognize that you are already standing in it, that you are already flowing in it. Fighting, gasping, drowning, all that suffering, slipping, sliding, getting banged against the rocks. That's our suffering, because we don't know. We assume a separateness, an individualness. We assume the other thing, the other image that comes up, not so often used, but more often used, I guess, is that not separate from the stream, but a ripple in the stream, a wave on the ocean, water. It's an opportunity to recognize cool water and not be a part of it. That we are the sword that cuts through delusion, the water that carves the rock, that makes the mountain, that feeds our farms, our food. That speaks the Dharma as best it can as a teacher, that manifests the Dharma best we can in the office, in the classroom, on the street. Pure water. And maybe that doesn't make sense, because sense is what exactly? I'm not too concerned about these days about whether it makes sense. I'm not concerned about that. Does it manifest that joy of our heart? The promise of light, the joy in your heart, the end of all strain, the end of all suffering, the joy in your heart. We're concerned with that. And feeling that I wasted a lot of time trying to make the other, trying to make sense. Talking heads, stop making sense. I'm in the musical realm always these days. But here we are. So that is the cool water, my interpretation of cool water that exposes and feeds and is the warm heart. So before I go spinning off on my journey, whatever this is, this journey that I'm on, and boring you to death, I hope to open the conversation and ask that question that has this question that can't find words to really ask you, but I'm not the one that needs to be asking. It's you that needs to do the asking. What is this practice? What is this life of Dharma for us? Not what are we trying to do? That's a dumb question. Not trying to do anything. What is this? Just this. How does this flow through your life? How does it bring you to the joy and the connection that we all need, whether we recognize that or not? So I'm going to stop because spinning has been my the spinning is a doing for me, to me. It is an overthinking. It is an over-explaining. It's picking out words that might sound cool. I don't know. What is it? Or trying to be something, engage, engage, and trying to, words. I'm trying to be careful to not use words in a non-beneficial way, because I can talk till the cows come home and trample my butt, but what they need to do. But yeah, so I open this to you all to speak whatever it is you want to speak. Correct me, whatever happens. So thank you for listening. And another thing that I need to stop doing is trying to meet some expectations of people, and I've never even asked them what they expect. And too bad, it's not what meeting expectations. It's opening to the truth and being vulnerable to the fact that my truth isn't the only one. And that's only my truth for this moment, because by the time we get down to the next talk, who knows what I'm going to be saying? Who knows what the truth is going to be for me or for any of us? So thank you again. Stop. And if anyone would like to say anything, you can, however we do this, whatever the protocol is, because Zoom, you can raise your hand, and whoever is taking care of the Zooming will open. I'm just saying. Or I could do mean teacher things and start calling on people. No, I would never do that.
Yeah, it's really scary, like you were saying. It's all in our head. It's all there. But on the other hand, you have to say something. And you say it very well. And thank you so much for giving us a lot to think about. Great to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you. And Anne?
I just had
Okay.
myself muted, and now I'm not.
Okay.
Okay. I really appreciate your framing your talk with the whole reality that words just don't contain what we need to express, and doing that kind of, I mean, so much of what you said sounds, I mean, it has the effect of poetry, which I always think about like the finger pointing at the moon. You know, it's not the words, it's about, it's something else that might connect, you know, with, it's same with music, you know, might connect with something else. And I just totally felt moved and beyond words with hearing how you use the words, framing them that way, that this isn't really what it's all about. And the reality of also having that kind of experience through music. And I know all of that isn't it, but it feels like it getting a little bit away from the literal meaning of words as the point of what's being conveyed somehow helps me. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Yeah, words are a stumbling point. It makes me remember I did a talk at Tassajara. Was it last year? Everything I seem to have done seems like a long, long time ago. And I was talking about the creek. It with the Carbaga Creek or something that went past my little hut that they had me staying in. And the sound of that creek reminded me again of my time. It was at Shigoji this time. And the Hojo-san of that ango was a man, Hokan Saito Roshi, who didn't speak a lot of English, but I was his jisha for something like 3 or 4 days. We all took turns doing that. Standing out in the cold, sometimes some sub-zero, waiting for a signal from the Soto to begin our jundo, that is going around to all the different altars in the temple, ending up at the Soto. We'd stand there, it seemed like forever. And as I think I said, he didn't speak much English, but he always spoke to me in that little time, sort of gentle, not so much whisper, but gentle, softly speaking, little pieces of English here and there. I had no idea what he was saying, but so much comfort and encouragement came from him. And in the background, you know, the sound of the creek, not so far away, but further away than at Yokoji, but it's, you know, it was audible. and the way his words, whatever he was saying, were twisted in with that sound. We're part of that sound. And it all comes up as, this feeling of comfort, of encouragement, that he is with me. And regardless of our culture, regardless of, whether I understood him or he understood me, all twisted together like the sound of the water, the sound of the mountain. And I think of, the discourse or lack of discourse that we have in our culture right now, and sometimes in our families, and just between me and thee. It's lack of understanding, because we are trying to separate ourselves from everything, from that water. And eventually it all blows up into anger and fear and ego and not understanding. I can listen to a bird. I can listen to the earth rumbling. I can listen to the creek, but I can't listen to this flesh and blood that is my sister, that is my friend, that is my teacher, that is a stranger. I can understand all of these things that are the world, but somehow ego and fear interferes with me and thee, because there's no freaking me and thee. And yet I make that suffering, and I apologize. And yet standing in that alcove in the freezing sub-zero, waiting for a faint signal with a man who does not speak my language. I don't understand language, culture, whatever those walls are. I could feel that. And when the signal came, there was no words. I lit the incense, 2 short, 3 long. Lit the incense. We bow. He turns, and I follow. No question. No question. And he brings me along. No question. No question of, who this black girl that don't speak no Japanese? What's she? And it's like, no question. Why am I following this man? It's cold out here. I should be in bed. No question. Never a question. Without thought. Without fear. I ain't gonna say without ego. Follow just like the stream. You're just the stream going to the altars. One of the altars is a picture of Katagiri Roshi, a man I never met, but to whom I'm connected, to whom my blood is connected, to a kaisando of ancient, I'm trying to find it, Ihai, all of that, of people whose names I can't read, but who are important to me, and on into a Soto full of people, some of whom I had a fight with yesterday. go and we light the, incense. No question. No question. Can we live that way, really, in our lives? No question. Listen, hear. Sometimes you're going to hear fear. Sometimes you're going to hear no. Sometimes you're going to hear yes. Sometimes you're going to hear love. But what are you speaking? What sound is coming out of you? What sound is coming out of me? Just general bitchiness, maybe. But, I'm sorry. I'll hold it. I'll try to hold it. But what sound? What sound? What is this? Just this. And go, can I do that? And maybe this is overthinking. But that was an experience of just this. Bell rings, go. Without question. Go to the joy. That's the thing we don't have to question. Go to the love of, and I sincerely, that's why it was very important to me that we send young Genjo to see that example. I want very much to be, as a teacher, that example, because I saw it. I'm not that example. I'm not the openness that I saw in that teacher. And I know I'm not. And I use words a lot. But here we are. I'm talking too much again. La, 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 la. But thank you for listening.
Chimyo, thank you so much.
We'll give back the merit now.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We will give back the merit.
May the merit of this practice
May the merit of this practice
benefit all beings
benefit all beings
and be and bring peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.